From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now, or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here is a fantastic letter from Paul W. in Australia, who asked about something that has fascinated me for a long time, and I think a lot of our fellow listeners. Let's hit the letter first, and then let's get weird with it. I mean, super weird. G'day, fellas. That's Paul, not me. I'm not stereotyping here. My name is Paul, and I think your show is awesome. Your efforts are reflected by the quality of your podcast that I really enjoy, for which I thank you. So that kind of line, I don't know about you guys, but that kind of line always gets me like a little cautious. Is there going to be a
there's
but?
a but. There's a but.
Right?
There might be a but. There's always a but. Well, not always, but.
There isn't. This is a but-free email. So, Paul, you said, stuff they don't want you to know keeps me alert at work as a delivery driver, which offers me a little extra scratch since retiring from a long career in the Australian Army as a field medic. I live in Wollongong, and thank you for telling us how to pronounce that, which is about 70 kilometers south of Sydney, as the Thunderbird flies, and I love all things cryptid. I believe your listeners may be interested in the mystery that surrounds the Tasmanian tiger. I don't know if you can classify this critter as a cryptid because it was or is a real thing that officially went extinct in the 1930s. However, sightings of this creature have been recorded since the 30s up until recently in Tasmania and on the mainland of Australia. Something like 90% of Tasmania is dense, impenetrable bushland, so I believe labeling this carnivorous marsupial extinct may be a little presumptuous. Anyway, that's my opinion. Keep up the great work. P.S. Next time you see Jono, please tell him that I love my Quister hoodie. That's a little bit of an Easter egg there for our awesome complaint department and the creator of Tech Stuff, who appears in his alter ego on another show we do called Ridiculous History.
It's true.
Did not know he has hoodies, but that's awesome.
I didn't know. Do we even have hoodies? Are we able to print hoodies? Is this a special arrangement?
I think we can. Maybe he's just got that quiz pull. But Paul, this letter made my day because of a couple of different factors. But I wanted to check, Matt, Noel, with you guys first. Have you done much reading about the Tasmanian tiger in specific?
I know that not since we talked about it on one of the cryptid things that we did, Ben, that I can't recall. But we mentioned just how cool of a creature it was. So I'm excited to hear what you've learned.
I just know the Tasmanian devil from Looney Tunes fame. What's the Tasmanian tiger look like? I don't recall this guy. I'm Googling him right now. Let's see.
It looks more like a canine to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Or like a hyena almost.
Yeah, it's like a dog with tiger stripes expanding at its hind quarters. Mm-hmm. Hang on,
a little vaguely dingo-like, perhaps?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there was a recent news piece that claimed, it was earlier this year, that claimed the Tasmanian tiger had been sighted, had been spotted in the wild. This claim, which came around in, I think, February or so, all can be attributed to a guy on YouTube named Neil Waters, who says that they had seen not just one thylacine, which would be the name of a Tasmanian tiger when it has its suit and tie on, but he said he saw an entire family. And he said he had footage here as well. As you know, we always want to look into the sources here. Neil Waters does have a thylacine in the race here because he is the president of something called the Thylacine Awareness Group of Australia. So he very much believes they're out there, very much wants us to be aware of this. The story of the Tasmanian tiger is, it's pretty tragic. In no small part because the last one, you're right, Paul, did die in the 30s. His name was Benjamin. He died in a zoo, so he was in animal jail. And ever since then, more than 80 years since, people have consistently been reporting sightings of what they believe to be Tasmanian tigers. And what's important about what Waters says is that he thought he also saw a juvenile, a baby, meaning that there was a breeding population. This video went relatively viral. He said that he handed images of the thylacine over to an expert named Nick Mooney at the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery. And surprise, surprise, not everybody agreed on what it was. We're going to give you another animal to check out in your browser of choice, and that is something called the Tasmanian Patamellon, which I may be mispronouncing. Let us know, Australians. So people are saying that this guy definitely did not see an animal long suspected to be extinct. And if you look up this, if you look up the picture of this other creature, Pademelon, it looks kind of like a quokka, I think they're called. That's what the skeptics are saying Waters actually saw. And if you guys see just an image of this, I think you would agree it doesn't really look like a Tasmanian tiger, does it?
No, not so much.
Yeah, it's a little, very cute, very Pixar, very Disney. It's a little bottom heavy because it is still, it's a marsupial. So it has to carry its young for a time.
It looks like a kangaroo and a mouse, just like
a kangamouse, a mousearoo. I like mousearoo. The thing is, it's pretty small. It's only about 15, 16 pounds. It's about a meter and a half in length. I guess you could mistake it for a Tasmanian tiger, but to be fair, you could easily mistake just something moving in the bush for one of these supposedly extinct creatures, especially if you wanted to see one, if you wanted it to be true. The thing that gets me about this, even though people disagree with this specific claim, is not just the preponderance of alleged sightings, but it's the fact that animals can be lost and rediscovered. Like the good old example, the most famous example, the coelacanth, right? That guy was quote unquote extinct for what, millions of years, while he was just living his happy, objectively kind of ugly life in a river.
Yeah. Well, just different. The coelacanth is just different.
Just different. You're right. We can't apply surface level assumptions, right, on multiple levels to this guy. But the thylacine too is it just looks adorable. I'll be honest with you. It also looks so much like a canid of some sort that it could. I could imagine somebody seeing a dog, maybe without optimal viewing conditions, and thinking, like being certain they had seen a Tasmanian tiger. I just want them to not be extinct. You know what I mean? I want them to be around. If you look at Tasmania itself, yes, it is possible that they're around. But I think in our last episode on this, when we talked about Tasmanian tigers earlier, we had all agreed they would count as a cryptid, right? Under coelacanth rules.
For sure. This would be a cryptid. I'm looking at that video now that Neil Waters, you were talking about, posted of these images he took. I don't know, man. I'm on the fence here, whether it's a patamellon or a thylacine, which is, God, patamellon, thylacine. That's going to be a hook somewhere.
Yeah. It's the new track by Hoot God. We're bringing that character back. Yeah, I wondered, I don't know, like, so you're on the fence, Matt. Noel, what do you think? Is it possible?
Doesn't feel like it. I don't know. Every time we have these cryptid conversations, I mean, the last one we had, Matt, that you brought was about the really big direwolf looking things that like dragged a cow over a guardrail, and it always ends up being the little detail of well, it was at night. There was distance. There's a shadow. You might have mistaken it for, something else. And it seems like that's what's happening here. Now, the big wolves dragging a deer. It was not a cow. It was a deer over a guardrail. Much more convincing than just like seeing a thing from a distance and saying, "Oh, that's definitely this animal." So,
but that was just a story.
I know what it was, but it was a convincing story.
This guy Waters has some videos. He's got trail cameras. He's got images.
Well, where are they? Where are they at, man? Let me see them.
He's posting them on YouTube right now.
They're not there yet, though, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is another thing here that gets me. As far as I know, one of the most, I guess, like the simple low-hanging fruit step in a search for a cryptid is kind of gross, but it's necessary. Find the poop. You know what I mean? Find the habitat. Find the scratching if there's some like behavior like that. And we did in a previous episode, we did some like cocktail napkin math about Bigfoot. And we said, okay, the Australopithecus is extinct, but that's the biggest primate we know of. What about the current largest primate, right? What kind of, we've been really into guts lately. What kind of poop do they make? Where do they make? How does it work? How often does it happen? How much is there? How much do they have to eat? Looking for a physical animal, that seems like that would be a trace they would inevitably have to leave. And to my knowledge, that has not been found. Nobody's seen Tasmanian tiger poop, the fresh baked kind, since 1936. So I think it's possible, but I'm super biased because I want it to be true. And then also, even if it is true, if there is some relic population, as they would be called, they probably don't have the genetic diversity to continue as a species. If they exist, the odds are not great that they will have enough of a breeding population to beat a genetic bottleneck that would ultimately doom them.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, for all of us with just a casual interest in this, when, Waters or whoever else comes out with incontrovertible images or video or some kind of evidence of a Tasmanian tiger living right now, it will make the news because that is big news. It'll hit MSN or whatever you're checking every once in a while, and then we'll know for sure. One way or the other. Well, actually, if we don't have proof, then we won't know, and it'll always be a mystery. So maybe let's just keep it like that.
Are you saying the real Tasmanian tiger was the friends we made along the way?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story, and it's a story that's not going to go away for the foreseeable future as long as there is dense wilderness in Tasmania. People like me, will hold out, hoping against hope, that we see the return of this fauna, especially in this time of a great mass extinction. We are living through an era of history in the most unpleasant way. But with that being said, if you've seen a Tasmanian tiger, if you have a Tasmanian tiger, if you are a Tasmanian tiger, somehow able to operate a keyboard or a phone, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your experience. Although I don't think any of us speak tiger, we will get Duolingo. We will pick that stuff up and do well enough to understand you.
Ben, by the way, before we leave, I found a video on that YouTube channel that we were talking about, Thylacine Awareness Group of Australia. Mm-hmm. The title is Searching for Tassie Tiger Poop.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All about that poop. Where's the poop, right?
He gets it. Where's the poop?
There's a big turd on the thumbnail, so I don't know.
Right?
Does it have little stink lines coming off of it and like little flies, like animated?
No.
And then how do you tell? Like, how do you dissect that? Oh gosh. Okay. This is
smell and taste. That's really the only. Oh, well, so I would do it. I guess.
So that's
you got experience in these matters, Matthew.